I used to believe that honesty was the strongest foundation a marriage could have. For more than 10 years, that belief guided everything I did, until the night it quietly dismantled the life I thought was unshakable. The restaurant was dimly lit, the kind that promises intimacy but hides exhaustion. A single candle trembled between us, its flame bending each time the waiter passed. It was our 10th anniversary. I wore the same shade of red lipstick I'd used on our wedding day. He'd booked the same table where he'd once proposed. For a while the nostalgia worked. We laughed about our college days, our children's stubborn streaks, the chaos of juggling deadlines and parent-teacher meetings. Then the laughter thinned and silence crept in, the kind that hums with something unsaid. He cleared his throat. "There's something I need to tell you," he said, fingers tracing the rim of his glass. His eyes wouldn't hold mine. "It's been on my mind for a long time. I thought it would be about work, maybe stress, maybe another move." But the tremor in his voice carried a different weight. "Go on," I whispered. He exhaled like he'd been underwater for years. "I love you. That hasn't changed. But I can't keep pretending that I don't want something more. Something different." My fork froze halfway to my mouth. "Something more." He nodded. "I need to be honest with you. He hesitated, searching for words that wouldn't break us. "I've been feeling trapped. Not because of you, but because of what marriage has become. I want to experience life again. To explore without lies, without sneaking. I want us to talk about opening things. Just talk." For a second, the world dimmed like the candle had gone out. The restaurant noise faded into a low buzz. I heard my pulse before I heard my voice. "You're asking for permission to stop being faithful." He flinched. "I'm asking for honesty. For both of us. I don't want secrets between us anymore." I stared at him. 10 years of memories flashed. Our first apartment, the night we painted the nursery, the mornings he brewed coffee before work. It all flickered like film running too fast. "You're serious," I said. He nodded once. "I am." That night I drove home in silence, my hands gripping the wheel until they ached. The house was dark except for the faint glow of the nightlight in the hallway. The kids were asleep. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt familiar. I stood in the doorway of our bedroom, watching him loosen his tie. He looked relieved, almost peaceful. I wasn't angry yet, just hollow. He turned to me. "Please don't hate me. I didn't say it to hurt you. You think that helps?" I asked quietly. "No," he admitted. But lying would have been worse. I wanted to argue, to scream, to demand how long he'd thought about it, whether there was someone specific. Instead I said nothing. I climbed into bed, pulled the blanket to my chin, and stared at the ceiling until dawn turned the windows pale blue. The following weeks felt like walking through fog. I still packed school lunches, sent emails, paid bills, smiled at neighbors. But inside everything was unsteady. He didn't press me for an answer. He simply waited, giving me space I hadn't asked for. At night, when he thought I was asleep, he'd sit beside me, scrolling through his phone, sighing like the weight of his honesty hadn't lifted but multiplied. Some mornings he left coffee by my side of the bed, a peace offering that smelled of guilt and hope. One afternoon, while folding laundry, I found an old photograph wedged between towels. The two of us at 22, laughing with wind in our hair, no makeup, no rings, just possibility. We looked fearless. I realized how far we'd drifted from those people. Somewhere between promotions, diapers, and mortgage payments, our lives had become efficient but airless. That night I wrote in my journal for the first time in years. He says he wants freedom. What do I want? The page stayed blank after that question. I didn't know the answer. Days bled into weeks. He started coming home earlier, helping with dinner, making an effort to talk about small things again. It was disarming. He seemed gentler, more present, as if confessing had stripped away his defenses. And in those moments, I glimpsed the man I'd married, the one who used to dance with me in the kitchen at midnight. "Why now?" I asked one evening while we washed dishes together. "Why say it after all this time?" He dried a plate, considering. Because I couldn't keep pretending. I didn't want us to end in resentment. I thought being honest might give us a chance to grow. Or a reason to fall apart, I murmured. He placed the plate down and looked at me. Maybe both. I spent nights sitting by the window after everyone slept, listening to the hum of distant traffic. I tried to imagine what saying yes would mean. Would it make me lose him or lose myself? I prayed, wrote, deleted drafts of letters I'd never send. I listed reasons to stay, reasons to go, reasons to pretend nothing had been said. Every list ended the same way. I still love him. One evening, I watched him reading to our youngest. His voice soft, his patience infinite. Something inside me broke and healed at the same time. His confession hadn't come from cruelty, it had come from fear. Fear of stagnation, of losing meaning, of becoming strangers sharing a roof. When he tucked the kids in and came downstairs, I was waiting. My heart pounded, palms damp. We need to talk, I said. He nodded, cautious. I've thought about what you said, I continued. About your wish. I don't understand it completely. Scares me. But I also understand why you said it. His eyes widened slightly, searching mine for anger, for permission, maybe both. I don't want to lose you, I said. But I don't want to live half alive either. If this is what it takes for us to be honest. Then yes. The word hung between us, delicate and final. He exhaled, stepping closer. You mean it. I mean I'm choosing trust, I said. But we set rules. No secrets, no lies. Total transparency. If at any point this breaks us, we stop. He nodded quickly, relief washing over him. Anything. Whatever boundaries you need. We sat together for hours, drafting the invisible terms of a new life. Honesty, communication, safety, respect. Sounded noble, rational. We convinced ourselves that structure could shield us from heartbreak. When he finally pulled me into his arms, he whispered, "You're the bravest woman I've ever known." I wanted to believe that bravery was enough. For a while it seemed to work. We talked more openly than we had in years. He looked lighter, happier, as if the confession had reset something inside him. I tried to mirror his calm, to believe this was evolution, not erosion. But beneath the surface, unease grew. Some nights, he'd stay out late under the excuse of dinner with colleagues. He always told me where he went, yet each disclosure felt like a thread pulled from a sweater. Transparency didn't hurt less. It just left no room for denial. One evening, his phone buzzed while he showered. A message lit up the screen. Had a wonderful time. Can't stop thinking about you. My breath caught. The name was unfamiliar. He hadn't lied, technically, but truth suddenly felt crueler than deception. When he came out, towel slung over his shoulder, I handed him the phone. You left this unlocked, I said. He froze, eyes flicking to the screen. You weren't supposed to see that. But I did. He sat on the edge of the bed. It's not what you think. I told you everything. You said. I know what I said, I cut in. But knowing and feeling are not the same. Silence. Then quietly. Do you want me to stop? I looked at him. The man I loved, the man who had been my home for over a decade. The room felt too small for both of us and the truth between us. I don't know, I said. Maybe it's already too late. The weeks that followed were a slow unraveling. We moved through the house like polite strangers, fulfilling routines, protecting the children from the tension that lived in the walls. At night, he'd reach for my hand, and sometimes I let him. Other times I turned away, pretending to sleep. I realized that saying yes hadn't made us free. It had made us careful. Every conversation balanced on the edge of breaking. One night, I woke to find him staring at the ceiling. Do you regret telling me? Yes. He shook his head. No. I regret what it did to you. Tears blurred my vision. It's not just me. It's us. He reached out, brushed a strand of hair from my face. I never wanted to lose you. Then why does it feel like you already have? He didn't answer. The silence said enough. Months later, I sat alone at the same restaurant where it began. The candle flickered again, the table for two reduced to one. I thought about that night, the trembling hands, the whispered confession, the yes I gave too easily. People think marriages collapse in a storm of betrayal. Sometimes they dissolve quietly under the weight of permission. I still believe in honesty. But now I know truth isn't a cure-all. It's a blade that cuts both ways. He wanted freedom and I gave it. I wanted love and it slipped through the gap between us. As I left the restaurant, I caught my reflection in the window. Older, steadier, not broken but changed. I realized the yes that destroyed my marriage also rebuilt me. Because sometimes the bravest thing isn't holding on. It's surviving the moment you finally let go.